Hey guys, what's up? It's JR Cuber, and in this video we have another unboxing from thecubicle.com. In here is the GAN 11M Pro, which is GAN's 2020 flagship. So let's go ahead and check it out. So this is a tester unit, so it doesn't come with the official packaging. It looks like we may have some accessories in here. Yeah, what is this? Oh, interesting. Okay. So these are basically what compresses the springs, and this is just like a different spring compression setting, basically. And then it looks like we also get a whole bunch of magnets in here. I think these are the core magnets, which we will find out about in a second. Looks like we also got some Halloween logos included. It's a little late for it now, but who cares? Let's just do Halloween year round. All right, here's the GAN 11 Pro. Looks like I got a little lubrication on one of those sides there. Wow, this is really, really light. So this is just the standard version. There's 3 different versions of this though that have different plastic coatings. So this one is like the standard matte finish. There's also 2 more finishes. There's one that has like a UV coating, I think, which is more so like a hard plastic. It's not very matte, I don't think. And then there's also a softer finished one that's feels more like a soft rubber almost. Like if you guys have ever felt soft touch plastic that's used in some electronics and things like that, it's like slightly spongy. I don't know. It's just like a very soft feeling plastic. All right, GAN 2020 flagship. Let's see how this is. All right, initial impressions. It definitely has some similarities to the GAN XS. Just the way the layers move feels very similar to that puzzle. The feeling is a bit different though. This is really, really smooth. It has a very light papery feel. This is kind of the norm with GAN cubes these days. Honestly, it doesn't really feel that different. I have a GAN XS here. That's the X. This is the XS here. So this one's a lot more broken in, so it's lost some of like that papery smooth feeling. And it's also a good amount slower. This is definitely, yeah, for sure faster. The layers also feel a lot lighter. And another thing I'm noticing about the puzzle too is that a lot of like the force behind the turns seems to be applied to like the center of the layers. A lot of cubes that have a more blockier feel, that feeling of like where the force is being applied in the layer kind of feels more outwards, more towards the edges. And that's what I tend to prefer in my puzzles. This puzzle, it seems like when you are pushing the layer, it kind of like the force is like moving inwards into the cube and then rotating it inside. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, but with some cubes, when you apply pressure, the whole like outer part of the layer just kind of feels like it snaps over. I don't know if that makes sense at all. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. So I'm not sure how much I really like that, although this is feeling like pretty fluid. Like, I don't know, I'm not really noticing much catching or anything. Something that does seem to be happening though, which is kind of weird, is my fingers are getting like caught in the layers. It's like when I'm pushing, there's a little bit of separation, enough for my finger to kind of get in there. So there's a little bit of like this going on between some of the layers and some turns from some angles. So I don't know. Yeah. Overall, like, not bad. Yeah, definitely not bad. It's definitely what we've come to expect from GAN. It's nothing groundbreaking. I think the most groundbreaking part of this cube is gonna be the core, so let's go ahead and check that out. So before we get to the core, we can go ahead and take a look at these pieces here. So these are very, very lube covered, which is good. I don't really want to have to lubricate this a lot, but this honestly just looks like a more simplified version of previous GAN edges. We can go ahead and compare it to the last version, the XS. So here's an edge from the GAN XS. So as you can see, the base has kind of been simplified a bit. It's a much smaller design, and there's the torpedo is a whole lot smaller there. As you can see, it's a very, very small torpedo. There's also no adjustable magnets in this. I can see a little magnet in this edge, but it is not adjustable like in the GAN XS. It's also, you can't even switch it like you can in the GAN X. So that's kind of interesting. It seems like maybe a bit of a step backwards, although I think the core is supposed to kind of make up for that. So here is a corner of the GAN 11 Pro, and this is definitely interesting. So the actual corner design is pretty much identical to the XS. excess. So here's the excess corner. Very, very similar, slightly thinner base, but overall same kind of honeycomb patterns. What's really catching my eye is this here. So maybe this is where you adjust the magnet strength. So it says 1, 2, 3 there. So that is what I'm assuming. So 2 would be the middle setting. So let's see, it's kind of, it's like sort of inset into the piece a little bit. So, ooh, that's kind of weird. It's kind of hard to get it over once you push it over into that spot. It's kind of hard to get it back. Interesting. I'll have to kind of look more into this and see what this does, but I can't seem to get this back now, which is a little bit unfortunate. And then as you can see here, there is a magnet at the base of the corner, which you may be wondering, why is that there? And it's because it connects to the core. So as you can see, sticking out of the core here, besides the stalks for the centers, are these little extra stalks that the corners connect to. So this is very similar to the recent GAN Pyraminx design. This also had that same kind of technology. So as you can see here, when this corner comes in, it snaps into place right there with the core. So I think that's why I'm experiencing that feeling that I was describing, right? Because now it seems like there's more magnetic pressure between the corners and the core than there is between the corners and the edges, which is going to provide that feeling of the majority of the turning momentum kind of being pushed to the center. So we can see the core even better by doing a full disassembly. So this looks really, really crazy. I've definitely never seen a 3x3 core like this before. This is very, very cool. And of course, too, if we pop off one of these center caps, we're going to see the same dual spring adjustment system that we've seen in the past few GAN cubes. So we can also go ahead and see how well this cube corner cuts. Yeah, very well. There's pretty much no angle that it can't cut at. That's pretty much standard. I think if you're a big GAN fan, this is definitely not going to disappoint. It feels pretty great, pretty similar to other GAN cubes, but still awesome. All right, I'm gonna go break this in some more. Okay, so the GAN 11M Pro. This is a $65, 63 gram 3x3 with, without a doubt, some of the most cutting edge cubing hardware. The main question though, does any of it really make a difference? So this cube's core is its main selling point, so it'd be pretty disappointing if it didn't make a difference. So after breaking it in for a little while, I've gotta say that it does. Once paired with a proper loop setup, proper tensions, and a proper spring compression, I set mine to the 3rd setting, the new core system really does make a difference. The problem I was having with the turning momentum really went away with proper tensions, and now I see why this core is so special. This is the most stable GAN cube. Like, it honestly doesn't even feel real sometimes. The turning is so effortless because you need so little force to start a turn, and this is because the magnetic attraction is placed more inside the core than between the pieces. Since you don't have to put as much pressure into breaking that magnetic attraction between the layers when you start every turn, you end up pushing less hard, but then the core magnets come in to make sure everything still snaps into place at the end of the turn. It's an interesting feel, and it takes a second to get used to, but once you get in sync with the cube, it really turns almost like magic. I'll do a trigger or an algorithm and it'll be so effortless and seamless that it feels like I don't even notice the layers moving. I feel like I'm doing turns before I even realize that those turns need to be made. That's kind of what it feels like. I feel like I can really put my full confidence into this cube and just let the core do its work. It really is the most seamless solving experience until you get a lockup. Sadly, like with pretty much every GAN cube, the GAN 11 Pro still has very aggressive lockups, and when it does, it really pulls you out of the experience of using this cube. The turning can be so magical at times that I get into this crazy flow state while solving, where I sort of feel like I'm becoming one with the cube. And then right as I'm about to pull off that flawless E-perm or that flawless A-perm or something like that, I get a huge lockup that nearly sends the cube flying out of my hands. And suddenly I remember that I'm still using a real cube and not just solving my imaginary cube that's perfect in every way. And it just kind of ruins the experience. I will say, these lockups have reduced with time, as this is definitely a puzzle that you need to get used to. At first I was very underwhelmed by this cube. It didn't really feel like anything special, but once I hit that flow state for the first time, and really saw what this cube was capable of, my opinions really started to shift. It does require very precise turning, but if you're able to get the hang of how it moves, and like I said, sort of get in sync with the cube, you're going to have some awesome solving sessions. So yeah, this is definitely the best GAN cube yet, even though it didn't really seem like that at first. It takes a bit of experience with the cube to really start appreciating why the core is the way that it is and how it improves the experience. But yeah, this cube's awesome. Should you buy it though? Probably not. It's $65. In terms of price to performance, you get a much better deal with an RS3M, which is not going to be that much worse than this cube. 3x3 hardware has developed to the point where the gap between the cheapest budget cube and the most expensive flagship has gotten really, really small. But like I said, there is an element of magic to this cube that I just can't quite describe. It's unlike any 3x3 I've ever reviewed. You kind of just have to try it for yourself. So if that sounds appealing to you, definitely check this cube out. The link will be in the description as always. Anyways, guys, that's about it for my review of the GAN 11M Pro. Thanks, of course, to the Cubicle for sending me this cube for free to review. If you guys want to support the channel, you can like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, turn on notifications, and use code JRCuber at thecubicle.com for a 5% discount. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.